For me, when my masculinity was in crisis, I obviously needed to change. And rather than blagging to become some bloke or some bully or some blagging smart-ass man, I just thought, so who am I? And what's going on? And as far as I'm concerned, there's men and there's women. More importantly, there is the masculine and there's the feminine. And what I was used to was, from when I was very, very young, I've had a very colourful, extreme, life-threatening, glamorous, ridiculous childhood. So from the time I was a little boy, I was always a little boy pretending to be a man. And it was a blag that even I bought, because it was survival. There was a lot that depended on this, and I had to hold it together. Not that it was difficult or wrong, it was just my childhood. It was normal. So throughout most of my life, I was a little boy pretending to be a man, taking care of my mother and the other women and my brother and God knows what, and learning the art of passive aggression and second guessing, you know, all of that, and surviving. And it was survival. It was just raw, busy survival. And I got addicted to the game of it. My body got addicted to the adrenaline that would just give me a rush. And I got into the music business and journalism and anything with a deadline, anything that kind of freaked me out and put me on that edge. I needed to express this, and it was wrong. It was not good. And I remember at one stage, I was on the 31 bus going from Camden, it was around Swiss Cottage, and a woman said to her child, "That man," and she pointed at me, and it's like, wait a minute. So suddenly, I have permission, I'm a man. Suddenly I'm a man because the woman on the bus said I'm a man. All along, I didn't buy myself as a man. I bought myself as a blagging, surviving boy that was doing a damn good job. And I got to the stage where I needed to be my own man. And I realized that there was nothing off the peg that fitted the men that I knew. There were a few bits and pieces here and there. It's like, I buy that, I dig that, a bit of that, but there was no one. I had no male role models. I guess as a much younger boy, and as I traveled around the world, there were quite a lot of female role models, but not that many male role models. And I just thought, how do I do this? How do I find out who the man in me is? And how do I, irrespective of whether other people buy this act, if I don't buy it, then it's not really worth anything. So I needed to basically get into my femininity and get into my masculinity, not in any clever, I'll think by myself through this way, but it was observing myself and feeling myself in my every interaction, in the way that I respond to people that pass me on the street, in my conversations all around me. Is this me? Does this feel right? Is this in alignment? Is this the truth? And is this what's going on? Is this what how I wish to grow? And the trick that I learned, the most efficient way that I turned into my own person, irrespective of masculine or feminine or whatever, is all the parts that didn't feel authentic. For me, it's about being my own authentic man. All the parts that didn't feel authentic or real or true, I just needed to let go of. It wasn't, oh God, I got it wrong, or any of that drama. It was more, that doesn't feel right. So when I remembered, I'd take a breath and I'd just let it go, and I just let it go. And who you see in front of you now is the leftovers. And I buy these leftovers, and these leftovers change and grow. And the stuff that I thought and I believed, God knows, months, years ago, I may not anymore. And I love that, because I don't buy me. But I buy myself in the moment, and that's where I wish to show up and be authentic. And then I went traveling. I went traveling for years, and I wasn't looking for me out there. I was looking for a home and a place to belong, and I couldn't bear the cold anymore. So I went traveling for a long time. And I came back, there was I came back because there are so many people in this country that I love. I was going to stay in Australia. And I got together, I think it was about 18 of my closest friends, and I got them in a room, and I basically said, if you're not willing to meet me at a certain depth, because everyone turned into sex addicts, love addicts, drug addicts, alcoholics, workaholics, whatever it is. They were doing their thing, and it's like, this is just boring, this is nonsense. I need to be met. I need somewhere real here. So in a nutshell, I said, I need to meet at a depth. And if you can't meet me at this depth, then you're chucked. And that's how I started the men's groups. And it was just a thing that I made up, where we hang out, we tell the truth, we explore who we are, we explore who we're not, we explore more than anything who we no longer need to be. And magic happens. And it's not just the way I feel about myself, and same with the other guys, but it's most importantly the way that as I show up without the survival and attracting things to survive, as I show up in the present, in the world, I attract the most ridiculous opportunities, the most wonderful people. I attract signs to follow, and I attract temptations to avoid like the plague. The temptations is the stuff that I know how to do and the stuff I know how to survive, and the stuff that I don't need to do anymore. The stuff that I can now leave, and I can take the risk in my life to show up out of control, and God knows what's going to happen. And as a male, I risk humiliation. That I feel is one of the biggest things for men, for the men I've worked with in the groups and privately, with all my friends, fear of humiliation. And the other one is abandonment. I risk humiliation and abandonment, and God knows what else might happen, because life is out of control, and my God, life is peachy. Thank you.